Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Turner's Digest. My name is Alex, otherwise known as Fear the Z. And as always, we'll start with our disclaimer. I'm not a financial or tax advisor. This is not financial or tax advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, but please enjoy. If you want to support the Patreon, patreon.com/Turner's Digest. Links in the show notes. The show notes are on the companion site at fearthez.com, and also there's a link in the actual show notes. There's a referral page. If you're interested in using some of my referral links, they should be in there. And if you like that intro music, it was by my brother's band, Sweaty Lemon. Their information is also in the show notes. They have an album coming out soon, and I'll be sure to share that when that details are released. But if you're interested, stay tuned. We'll do our classic Patreon shoutouts. So shout out Kung Fuer and Cleed for their contributions to the Cleed tier. That's the highest tier on Patreon. You'll be called out every episode. And for those members that recently joined in our regular tier, which is just $1, and that can be forgiven if you use a small balance forgiveness on some credit cards, so it can be free. The new members are Some Call Me Tim and Lap. Their name's a little bit longer, but I think that's their real name, and I don't want to say the full thing, so I'll just say Lap. But let's dive into it. I just got back from a trip to Boise. I unfortunately hurt my ankle on the trip. I have ski boots while I was skiing there, but the boots are way too tight for me, and they're restricting something, so I always don't clip my bindings. And it was my first time going through glades and on an ungrooved path and with fresh POW, so that was a bad mix, and I sprained my ankle. But I've adjusted my boots now, and hopefully it'll be a little bit better. The ankle's feeling mostly back, probably 80%. We'll see how it's feeling. Tax season is upon us, and I just wanted to say that I currently have 34 documents, including like a whole bunch of 1099s, some brokerage accounts, some personal accounts, and I'm definitely not at all of them yet. I still have to receive some. I have a little tracker that I keep track of what sign-up bonuses I opened up, which banks have sent me 1099s for those bonuses, and then which ones haven't, so I can manually track and report it. I also realized that I've never really reported my DraftKings earnings and like sports books, and I think I've won like almost $1,000 in there, so I definitely have to report that this year and pay some tax on it. Our first update is Chase plans to open up 500 new branches and renovate up to 1,700 existing branches. I feel like this was probably set in course by Capital One. They've done a lot to make branches be more of like a hangout spot with their Capital One cafes. And I'm curious to see if Chase will follow suit with something like that. They're saying that in the next 3 years, they're going to serve communities without existing access or underrepresented areas. In addition, 700 existing branches will receive renovations. Some of the new branches will be in Boston, Charlotte, the area surrounding D.C., Minneapolis, and Philadelphia. So I'm curious to see if they do something similar to like similar to their Capital One cafes, if they make it more like a come and hang out vibe, because I don't think a lot of younger folk need brick and mortar banks, and they'd prefer some kind of like casual hangout spot. So we'll see what comes of that, but I thought that was interesting. Next, T-Mobile announced just before the Super Bowl, and I saw an ad during the Super Bowl for it, for Magenta status, which can get you Hilton Silver status and more. I'm not going to read all of these, but Dr. Credit says that the benefit seems pretty basic, but might be useful to some readers. Some things include premium hotel deals and experiences, refuel or recharge on us, $5 movie tickets, more entertainment with Live Nation, more thanks with T-Mobile Tuesdays, new benefits, new apps. If you have T-Mobile, I mean, it's nice to have additional benefits that you can gain from being a customer, but it's nothing groundbreaking. Next, I had a little snafu with Curve. I'm still using Curve, and I'm still surprised it's running perfectly fine. It's now February, when my thought of end of year 23, them dying out, has not come to fruition, so they're still chugging along. I have a local credit union that gives 5% cash back on up to $200 in spend per month. Super limited restrictions, so unless you live in a very specific area in New Jersey, you're not going to be eligible. It's Atlantic Federal Credit Union. And no, I'm not going to refer you as a family member. I'm just not comfortable with that. But that debit card I never really physically used. I just used it in Curve, and the card expired, so I was issued a new one. And then in the Curve app, it actually tells you that the card expired. And there's a little button that says to update information, and I tap that, and nothing happens. So I kept trying that way, couldn't update the card, couldn't use the card anymore. I wound up deleting the card, trying to re-add it. Curve was saying that the card wasn't supported in contact support. Support said that the bank was declining the transaction. And I'm like, that can't be true. There's nothing wrong with the card. Turns out I never activated it. So I just have a default of not believing Curve when they say things, especially their support. But they were actually right this time. So I went and activated the card, added the card again, and it worked fine. Next, I wanted to thank, I don't know if there were readers or listeners or people on Doctor of Credit, but I got 2 upgrade referrals that came in, $50 for checking, so I assume someone used my $200 link, so thanks, and a $200 savings sign-up bonus for that. The savings one, I think, requires $20,000 to be deposited for 90 days, and it pays out for $200 for each party, so if you're interested, again, links are in the referral page. Next, I was reading on Reddit, and I always find it curious to see what banks offer their employees benefits for certain things, and I was reading a post on our credit cards, and the post wasn't too interesting, but they said that all employees get platinum tier for free, which is when you hold between, I think, $50,000 to $100,000 with Bank of America. So as an employee, you just get that for free, which is pretty cool. It gives you a default of 50% boost to your credit card rewards, which is what I find useful. So I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know that banks did that. I thought Bank of America used to offer something else, and I thought they took it away, but this is the first time I've heard of this being a benefit of being a Bank of America employee, so that's pretty neat. Next, as I mentioned, I went on a trip to Boise, and I learned that it's Boise, not Boise, and Boise's fantastic. The skiing's awesome. The downtown's really cool. The nightlife stays open later than it does in Boston. It stays pretty. We were at like a food truck at 2 a.m, which was pretty fire. But in terms of the trip, I flew Alaska there because Alaska has a partnership with Bogus Mountain, where if you fly in via Alaska into Boise, a day pass to ski is free for that day if you fly Alaska on that mountain. So I did that. That mountain's really cheap anyway, so it was only like a $40 savings, but it was my first time flying Alaska, and I liked it. They had some nice drink options and snack options. I had nothing negative to say about them. But as always, I flew out of Boston, and I went to Stephanie's Priority Pass. I was actually there really early at like 5 a.m. because my flight was at 6 a.m. So I went to Stephanie's, got some breakfast. The breakfast was kind of trash. Like their breakfast cubes, or like the potatoes, were pretty cold, and they came with like onions on it, but the onions weren't cooked very well. And I got the breakfast sandwich, which was like $20, and it was a pretty trash breakfast sandwich, but it got the job done. And the whole thing was under $28, so it was just tip that I had to pay, which was nice. And they still let you tip on the card, even though you don't charge anything. I think they charged me 1 cent on the card just so that I could tip, which I'm fine with. So I wound up spending like $5.01 there for some nice breakfast. And then I had a layover in Seattle, so I had a flight from Boston to Seattle, and then I had to backtrack to go to Boise, which was a bit annoying. But I had I think it was like an hour layover, 50-minute layover in Seattle, and I had to kind of rush to go between terminals, but I still had time to get a Priority Pass restaurant, and Seattle's like a huge hub for Priority Pass. In the terminal I was in, I think it was Terminal A, there were probably like 4 restaurants that all were a part of Priority Pass, and all of them had to-go options. One of them just had like a convenience store there, and a lot of people were using Priority Pass just to like grab some quick convenience store snacks to go and charge at Priority Pass, which was pretty fantastic. I wound up getting I actually can't remember. It was some kind of chicken sandwich. I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm just not going to say it. But it was decent. It was fine. It was free, and I was able to scarf it before I got on the plane. Also, I was flying with skis because I went skiing in Boise, and I had to both purchase a check bag for Alaska and Bank of America, and I have the Premium Rewards Elite card, and this also applies to the Premium Rewards card. They both have a travel credit, an incidental travel credit that you're allowed to use. For the Premium Rewards, $100 annually, and the Premium Rewards Elite card is $300. I normally just use it for American Airlines gift cards, but I figured I'd try these check bag purchases to see if they would trigger, and they did. So I purchased, all the data points are on the show notes. If you're interested, they're on Doctor of Credit. But on 210, I purchased a $30 check bag with Alaska, 212 the meter moved, and then 214 the $30 credit posted. So it seems like 2 days between each. That timeline adds up as well for the American Airlines check bag. I charged $30 on the 13th, meter moved on the 15th, and the credit should have posted. Let me check and see if it did. And upon checking, yep, the timeline still worked out. So 13th for the charge, 15th for the meter moved, and 17th for the credit being posted. There was another data point that I made that I hadn't seen track the deducted credit, and that did move and trigger the credit. So that was a $11.50 in-flight meal purchase before the flight took off with Alaska. I had a flight from Boston to Seattle, as I said, and that's a pretty long flight. So I figured I'd want a snack on the plane. So I went to the app and I saw that they offer like a little salmon dip with some pita bread, some cheese, and some grapes. It was actually pretty good. I mean, $11.50 is kind of expensive. It would have been cheaper if I just packed something, but I wanted to try this credit. And I made that purchase on the 12th. I purchased it before my flight way earlier, but they don't charge until the flight actually happens. So on the 12th, I had the purchase come through for $11.50. The meter moved on the 14th, and I got the credit on the 16th. So all positive data points for Bank of America there. We'll talk about Bank of America a little bit here, but I just tried to open up another card with them. So we'll see if I get another one. Next, the American Express Morgan Stanley card added language to stop double dipping, or for family language. They specifically said, you may not be eligible to receive a welcome bonus if you have or have had this card, the Platinum Premium, the Platinum Card, the Platinum Card Registered Trademark from American Express exclusively for Charles Schwab or previous versions of these cards. That wasn't there before. Now it's been added. Sad for those who like to churn those pretty frequently. Next, I saw that Apple added the ability to get virtual card numbers for their Apple Cash. So if you have Apple Cash in your Apple Wallet, which I believe you can fund with a debit card. So I wonder if there's any debit cards that will award cash back on that, and then you can make a purchase with the Apple Cash. Regardless, you can now, if a store doesn't support Apple Pay, you can get a virtual card number and type that in and use that to use your Apple Cash. I don't know how useful this will be for people. I think they're using the same IT that they use for the Apple Card. I think Apple Card definitely offers virtual card numbers. So now it just applies to your Apple Cash as well. Next was an update from last episode 29, on my Visions Federal Credit Union account. To summarize, I added my Ally account as an external account to Visions. They locked my account. They asked me for a statement. I sent it in. They asked me to scan that PDF statement, print it, then scan it, and then send it to them. I did. Didn't hear anything back. Contacted them a week later. They said that the statement's not official, and that didn't satisfy what they wanted, and they wanted me to ask Ally for a letter stating that I hold an account with them. And I'm like, listen, this is ridiculous. The account's been open for 2 weeks. I can't do anything with it. Can you just remove the Ally account as an external account and unlock my account? They were like, oh, yeah, sure. So I had them remove it. The account was reinstated. And then I just added Visions to my Ally account and pulled out that way. I probably should have done that to begin with, but when I tried to link my Visions account in Ally has this thing where they ask you to give the account number, so the routing number and the account number, and then if they recognize it, they try and use their login, like you log in through Visions, but in Ally's UI, and that kept failing for me. But if you try enough times, it'll just ask you to do trial deposits, and I did, and that finally worked, so I was able to pull some money out. Next is an update on my FDIC complaint for Nesswell and with the Bank of Missouri, and they just closed my case. And I'll read through some highlights of what they said, what FDIC said in the update, and I'm not super satisfied with this. So they said, we've completed a review of your concerns involving Bank of Missouri about a Nesswell credit card account. You indicated the bank did not provide you with $150 statement credit upon redeeming your rewards points. This is true. I did attach a lot of documentation. That is how that is an accurate summarization. At the FDIC, this is where things kind of go off the rails. At the FDIC's request, the bank provided you with a response dated February 5th, 2024. A copy of that response was also sent to the FDIC along with any corresponding documents necessary to complete an independent review into the matter. This is not true. I have not received communication from the Bank of Missouri about this on February 5th. Looking at the case document that FDIC sent me, the address they have is a prior address listed there. So I'm imagining Bank of Missouri possibly sent me something, but they mailed it to my prior address, even though in Ness I already went and I believe I went and updated my address before the account was just closed. So I have not received this communication. I called FDIC to ask them about this, but the department that handles these claims don't take direct phone calls. You have to leave a voicemail and then get a call back. I left a voicemail weeks ago and I never got a call back. And I left a voicemail on Friday and I also have not gotten a call back. I get Friday. Today's a bank holiday, the 19th. So maybe sometime this week, but they say like 2 to 3 business days. So I'm going to have to call back again and ask them for something. Maybe I'll just email them. Maybe that works better for them. And then finally, this is a very wordy, and I'm not really sure what they totally mean here, but I'm going to read it anyway. Banks may establish loan policies and procedures provided such policies do not conflict with existing banking and customer protection laws. The FDIC does not dictate the specific terms and conditions of credit offered by a bank to individual borrowers. These terms are contained in the note or contract and are generally governed by state law. While the FDIC regulates federal consumer protection laws, it does not intervene in contractual matters between banks and borrowers. The way I read this is, the most important part to me is, banks may establish loan policies and procedures providing such policies do not conflict with existing banking and consumer protection laws. The FDIC does not dictate the specific terms and conditions of credit offered by a bank to individual borrowers. So if you have a credit with a bank, FDIC does not have any regulations around if the bank has to issue that credit, which kind of sucks. I want to hear what this correspondence that the Bank of Missouri sent me on February 5th. So if I get an update, I'll let y'all know. I do have mail forwarding from that address. I think I still have it. I think I set it up back in like March or April or May when I moved. So maybe it'll come to me eventually, but USPS, who the heck knows? But that's my update for that. Hopefully there's more to come. I'm not totally sure. Next, from last episode when I talked about my Venmo account being suspended, there's still no update. I sent off my document last week. They said it takes a week to get back, so sometime this week I should hear. If I don't, I will have to call them and figure out what's going on because I have like $1,100 locked in there. Next, there were a couple lightning deals that I shared in the Patreon that have since expired, but I'm sharing them here. There were some Lyft gift cards on sale for 15% off. At Best Buy, I wound up buying $200 worth, and I wound up getting like around 19% off with my 4.5% off on top of it with my Bank of America online category for my customized cash rewards. And then Top Cashback did a flash deal again for $2.50 back on a $15 spend. I just, again, bought Google Store gift cards because I'm still using YouTube Premium with my student account. They recently asked me to verify, and I just keep uploading a edited version of my student ID. I just have changed the expiration date, and it's being approved by whatever, like probably Lambda that they're running to scan the image and see if it's expired. So I'm good on that for another year at, I think, $8 a month, which is great to have YouTube Premium and a music service. And YouTube Music isn't terrible. Like, it's not great, but it's not terrible. Next, PayPal Bill Pay has removed a bunch of options. So I don't personally use PayPal Bill Pay, but I know a lot of communities do to either manufacture spend for debit card purchases and get cash back on paying certain bills, or to liquidate some Visa gift cards or MasterCard gift cards. So a lot of those avenues have been shut down, unfortunately. But I think if you had some previously added, they're still available to you. You just can't add them again, or certain ones have been removed as well. So kind of stinks. Next, I shared a data point on the Capital One Venture X anniversary bonus miles posting. So upon anniversary, you get 10,000 bonus miles. So for me, my annual fee hit on January 15th, and then February 13th, my 10,000 miles posted. And from last year, my annual fee hit on the 14th, and my miles posted on the 28th. So it's a little quicker this year. It could just be because of like the way the statements lined up, but hey, I can't complain about getting it a little bit earlier. Next, American Express has a decent sign-up bonus for their Marriott Bonvoy Business. There's 5 free night sign-up bonus, so you can get 5 free nights at one of their hotels. You have to spend $8,000 within 6 months, and it's also a business card. I'm not opening it, but figured I'd just call it out. Next, my Blue Peak referral bonus hit, and I have some data points on that. So Hold on, I'm waiting for Doctor of Credit's Cloudflare verification. So on November 9th, I opened the account. November 17th, I had a $251 real direct deposit. December 1st, I had a $251 real direct deposit. On February 11th, I had a $200 credit titled Deposit Promotional Bonus. So the terms dictate that you have to have e-statements on and $500 in direct deposit in 90 days, and your account must remain open for 90 days. So once my account was open for 90 days, which was on the 9th of February was when the 90 days happened. Let's see if the 9th of February was a Friday. So the next business day, which was actually, it deposited on a Sunday, not even a business day. So it took 2 days for it to post after 90 days. So not bad, pretty quick. Those referrals are now just $75, so they're not as lucrative. But if you're interested, let me know and I'll send you a link. Next, Bank of America started a partnership with Starbucks, which is a bit interesting because I thought Chase had a credit card with them. Let me see. So that card was closed back at least in April of last year. Or it's discontinued on July 20th, 2023. So I have an inkling that Bank of America might start offering a Starbucks card. It's a bit interesting because the rewards they offer here don't even match making a deposit into their like gift card system. Like you can hold a balance with Starbucks, and I think someone recently told me, I haven't verified this, but Starbucks holds more money in their gift card system than they're actually worth. Like the business is worth. Like they're a huge bank essentially, and they just can lend out that money as they want because it's not really a bank account. You're just holding your funds with them. But the new Bank of America Starbucks partnership is 2% cash back plus 1 star per point, plus 1 star per $2 spent. Starting today, customers can earn 2% cash back on top of existing card benefits and 1 star per $2 spent at Starbucks when they link an eligible Bank of America debit or credit card with their Starbucks rewards account. So if you're interested, start paying with your Bank of America card. I don't shop at Starbucks too often. I make most of my coffee, but I know some people will find that useful. Next, Staples announced that they're launching an easy rewards program. So the points are you earn 1 point per $1 spent every time members shop on qualifying purchases, collect 2 times or more points on 3 bonus point categories members buy most, and redeem points to save on qualifying purchases at checkout. Something that people noticed is that third-party gift cards do count, so you can earn rewards on third-party gift cards, and they often give like no fees on a Visa gift card or a MasterCard gift card. So if you purchase that with your Easy Rewards, you could just get points on top of it, which is pretty good for those who are doing manufactured spend. Next, this was talked about in episode 11, but TradeStation is back with another $150 sign-up bonus. I did this a while ago. My data points are in the show notes. It's not a bad bonus. It takes $500 in deposit, and you get a $150 bonus. They did send me a $10.99 for this back when I did it. And also, read my discussion on what account I opened as well as where you can use that account, because they charge you, I think, for like using their web portal, but they don't charge you to use their app. It's a bit convoluted, but if you want to jump through the hoops, it's $150. And then finally, last thing for today, I just today applied for Bank of America Premium Rewards card. I held it back in 2021, so as far as I know, I'm eligible again. I don't know if there's a family between Bank of America Premium Rewards and Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite, if there's a family sign-up bonus language. I thought it was just per card, so let me double check on that. Yeah, from what I'm reading on Doctor of Credit, it's specifically per card. So the terms state, this card may not be available to you if you currently have or have had the card in the preceding 24 months. So I have not held the card in 24 months. I froze all my credit reports except TransUnion. They pulled my Experian account most recently, but they have pulled TransUnion in the past. So I think my TransUnion shows less hard pulls. So I unfroze that and froze my Experian. We'll see what they do. My account went to pending, so I have a feeling it might be because of that. And I also know the last time I got approved, I had to call in and get them to reallocate some of my credit line. And they were like, oh, sorry, you were declined. And then I was like, well, could I rebalance some of my credit? And they're like, oh, yeah, you'll get approved that way. So I did that. I wonder if I can do it again. I already do hold 5 Bank of America cards. I hold 3 customized cash rewards, 1 Premium Rewards Elite, which I plan on product changing to another customized cash rewards, and unlimited rewards, which I plan on keeping open. And the ultimate reward, ultimate or unlimited, I can't remember. But the UR I opened recently and still have a 0% interest on that until I think September. And then my PRE I opened a little bit more recently. Let me get the exact dates. But I have a pretty thick portfolio with Bank of America, so I'm curious to see if there are reports that there's a limit of 4 accounts, 4 credit cards with your Bank of America account, but I now have 5, and I've applied for a 6th, so I could be the one weird outlier. But my Premium Rewards Elite card I opened on June 20th. My Ultimate Rewards Unlimited Cash Rewards I opened on May of 2023. And I'm also 812 overall with applications, 8 new cards in the past 12 months. I know there's a soft limit of 712, and I've seen some recent data points specifically for the Alaska card where people have been approved over that. And when I did the pre-approval at Bank of America, it showed the premium rewards, which is why I'm applying. And I have a abroad trip coming up at the end of April, and that'll be within the 3 months for the sign-up bonus for this card. And I have some flights coming up that I want to purchase on the card. So I will call tomorrow. My account's in pending. We'll see if it changes. And I'll call tomorrow and see if I have to unfreeze something or if they want me to reallocate some of my credit limit. I think I have like $53K as a limit overall with all my Bank of America accounts. And I hold around that, I think, in assets with Bank of America. So maybe that's something to look at as well. But that's pretty much it. Let me read this a little bit and see if there's anything interesting. I'm just reading. I'll give a link in the show notes, but I'm reading through the Bank of America 24-month churning rule, and there's a carve out for the premium rewards. It says this premium rewards card will not be available to you if you currently have or have had the premium rewards card in the preceding 24-month period. I have not, but there are some conflicting data points where people are saying that they currently hold a premium rewards card and they applied and were approved, and there's no specific call out, at least on Doctor of Credit's site, for premium rewards elite card, and based on the verbiage, I don't see those two being considered the same card. I think they're different. So we'll see what they say. I'll give an update on it. But that's pretty much it for today. This was a not short, but a quicker one. I have a ski trip this weekend. Hope my ankle's feeling good enough for it. And then maybe there won't be a post this weekend, but maybe next week I'll publish something. But as always, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. There are some updated images on the card design site if anyone's interested in that. It's pinned on Fear the Z and then the top bar on the website. But that's it. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.